Nice to see everybody today. Welcome to the first of these workshops. Hopefully, you'll be able to glean something from it. My name's Paul Gillings. I'm an alcoholic. No, wrong meeting. Sorry. Get out on every time. Just break it in. I've been playing harmonica for 33 years this year. Still learning, still picking it up, still attending workshops, still going for stuff. Always something new to learn. It's what I love about this instrument so much. One of the many things I love about it. So I'm just going to waffle on as a proper introduction completely from this tiny little box of tricks that we have here. So one I might, mainly use, and the one that these blues workshops are going to be concerned with, is a little beauty here. The 10-hole Richter-tuned diatonic harmonica. Okay, this is your bog standard. That's what you ask for. That's what you search online for. And this is what you'll get. This one in particular is in the key of C. You've probably, hopefully, those of you that have had a look around and knowing how the internet works these days, I dare say a few people have done some research as to what it is a good learning instrument, a good one to start with. So yeah, your 10-hole Richter-tuned diatonic in the key of C major. Okay, there it is. Okay, I don't know how well you can see it. I'm not sure my MacBook's very good, but if you look on yours, there should be numbers across the top there. Well, I say it's the top. Make it the top if you can't see the numbers. Perhaps it's a professional instrument and doesn't have numbers. Some of the more expensive, more professional instruments don't. The sidles don't. I personally find the numbers a bit condescending. You can't see them when you're in your mouth anyway. Let's face it, it's a instrument you need to visualize. The sooner you get used to the fact that you've got to visualize where you are on the harmonica, the better it'll be for you, or you'll get your horrendous beginner's twitch. Beginner's twitch is a Richard Taylor term I like, where he says where we're looking for the whole number, we all go like this, looking for the whole number, and you put it in your mouth and you can't see it. Where is it? Okay, so yeah, numbers along the top, or if you like, those lower notes on the left hand side and the higher notes on the right hand side. I'm not sure if his screen is mirrored very well, but on my left I've got the low notes, and on the right I've got the high notes. Okay, just like a piano keyboard is laid out that way. You sit in front of a piano, you've got all the low notes on your left hand, all the bass notes, and the top, and on the right hand you've got the high notes. So yes, so I'm trying to look at if there's any questions. I'm going to turn the chat off and take some questions if it's distracting me. Yeah. So why is it laid out that way? Okay, we'll go on that a bit, but you'll see that there's a ridge along your harmonica as well. There's a little ridge there that they invented in a lot of these. I don't know if you can see it through the profile there, but there's a lovely ridge there, and that is I find generally a lovely place to put the finger, to put your finger across there to hold it. Describe it as a little crocodile. Crocodile comes in having a sandwich in there. So we've got it in our hands, nicely embedded into the crook of our finger there. I said I was going across Billy Basics. It doesn't get any more basic than that. And hands nice and open. Fingers, let that sound out. Harmonica doesn't have a soundboard within itself. Inside of this is a tiny, tiny piece of metal. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these, a little Jew's harp in my mouth. Always a little bit of sound there. If I blow across it, then a sound are the reeds. The reeds are made up from these tiny swinging pieces of metal. And within your 10-hole diatonic, there are 20 of those, 2 per hole. 1 below, 1 draw. Okay, so holding it, keeping it nice and open. Like I said, the harmonica's got no sound. The harmonica's got a screen. Can anyone hear me? It might be internet in Suffolk. If anyone wants me to repeat anything, just say. I'm jerking. Oh, wow. I didn't think anyone could see that. It must look like Max Headroom going off here. Anyone old enough to remember that? So I'll carry on regardless, and questions at the end. Okay, so we've got our hands nice and open. Like I said, there's no soundboard for this harmonica, so we have to keep our sound, our volume coming from somewhere. So I like to keep good posture when I'm playing. I like to have my arms nice and relaxed by my side. I like to have my elbows slightly away from my chest there, so I'm not constricting my chest and my airflow. And I like to have a nice sort of not cramping down on my chest, nor am I stretching my windpipe up like that. Okay, so I'm keeping a nice straight flow of air in and out of my body, so then it can go in and through and out and back in through the harmonica. Okay, so then I'm not cramping out like this, I'm not stretching anything up like that. Okay, I'm just breathing gently in and out of the harmonica like that. Okay, so in our 10 holes, why is the harmonica laid out, or where are the notes? It's important, I believe, quite important to know. So I've got a little thing here I'd like to share with you. I'll share my screen. There we go. This one here. So I've just done a little, can everyone see that? I don't suppose you can tell me if you could. Someone give us a thumbs up. Sam, give me a thumbs up. I can see you, buddy. Can you see my screen? Yeah, grand. 2 thumbs up. I can see a few thumbs up there. Okay, so this is your 10-hole Richter tuned diatonic in C major. Okay, so there are the whole numbers across the middle. And across the top there are the blow notes. Okay, we've got C, E, G. Oh, look at that. It repeats C, E, G. It repeats again, C, E, G, and C. Across the bottom are our draw notes. Okay, now you might notice that from blowing in and out of your harmonica, that it sounds fairly pleasant just having a go. And, you know, Bob Dylan made a career out of it. And let's not start the controversial subject of Bob Dylan too much, because I find amongst harmonica players, he can be a bit Marmite, but he did write some cracking songs. Let's give him that. Okay, so it sounds very nice, doesn't it? Moving up and down our harmonica. Even breathing in's not too bad. Can get a bit squeaky at the top ends, but on the lower harps it doesn't so much, as C is a fairly mid-range harmonica, so it's not quite so. A little bit squeaky at the top end, but not quite so at the bottom. So why is that? You know, why does it sound nice? Because it's laid out in chords in the main. So across the top there, we have a C major chord. If I just change to this little layout here, okay. So here on our 10-hole Richter tuned diatonic, across the top there, we have the chord of C major, all the way up. C, E, G. On the bottom, those first 3 to 4 holes make the chord of G major. That sounds quite nice as well, doesn't it? So even if we just breathe in and out on those. That's quite nice, isn't it? It's not bad. Not bad at all. In the middle of the harmonica, that D, F and A there, through means of extreme music theory that that immediately scares everyone running for the hills. Oh, music theory! I didn't want music theory. I wanted to learn to play the mouth organ. My God, it seems so easy. But I'm telling you now, a little bit, tiny bit of music theory along the way at each step, just for the purposes of it. And it's difficult not to get bogged down with it, and it's difficult not to take too much of it on. But if you just take away the music theory that's in the lesson, but as it stands, and it's difficult too, because a million questions. Why is that now a D minor? What's the difference between minor and major? The basic, Billy basic difference between a major and minor chord is one sounds a bit sad and the other one sounds quite happy. So this is a nice happy chord. There's another happy chord. Okay, in the middle. It's a bit melancholy. It's a little bit miserable. So, and another D minor chord up the top. Oh, it's a bit sad, isn't it? Especially if I use that as a little arpeggio. Arpeggio means broken chords. So we've got chords. We've got arpeggios, which are the notes that go to make up those chords. It's as simple as that. So even if I just blow across holes 1 to 4, that is an arpeggio of that chord. Okay? Which is just the 3 notes of that D minor chord in the middle taken to bits. So, and I might be rambling across here a bit, but yeah, I'm trying to get through a bit, to be fair. So there, the harmonica then, so our 10-hole Richter tuned diatonic has got chords, it's got 10 holes, it's got blow reeds, it's got draw reeds, and the chords are nice, but also conveniently in the middle, if you'll bear with me across here, we have a complete and total major scale. Okay, what does that sound like? It might sound familiar when I go for it. Oh, lovely, there it is. and that's right in the middle of our harmonica there. So I've just tabbed out, and I can share this document with all at the end if anyone's keen, if it means anything to anybody. But yeah, across the middle of the harmonica is our major scale. Not a complete major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C is our C major scale. At the bottom end of the harmonica, you'll notice that there are some of those notes missing. There's no F there to create a major scale. There's no A. And in the top there, we've got C, D, E. We've got F. We've got no A, and we've got no B in the top end as well to complete our major scale. So we've got one complete major scale in the middle, and two partial ones, one at the bottom and one at the top. So we've got from which we can create a whole bunch of tunes. With our single notes. So, and I tell you something, single notes for me were probably the most difficult part of learning to play the harmonica I have ever encountered. Probably more difficult than Overblows, and it just took me personally forever to get one note at a time. It was horrendously frustrating because part of the time, like I say, with the chords there, when you've got a mouthful of harmonica, that it sounds all right, doesn't it? It sounds okay. It doesn't sound too bad. So you can get away with not playing one note at a time. So I could play that, busk that middle octave out there. With sort of sloppy, not, sloppy has got a negative connotation to it, but, sort of not entirely pure single notes. But getting a single note, what do you need? You need good embouchure. Embouchure is the way your mouth. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment and go back to seeing me so you can see my embouchure. Check out my embouchure. You love it. So, Suffolk humour, sorry. So, yeah, or whistle. So, almost by default now, almost purse my lips outwards, like completely snog this harmonica. When I was saying earlier about putting your hands or your fingers into that little groove there, what you don't want to do is get too close to the front edge of it and push your face off of the harmonica. You need as much as your face as you possibly can across that harmonica. Absolutely get stuck in there. I don't know if you can see me how much I've got them in there. And see how far my lips go across that harmonica. Get it right in there. Get a nice juicy lip seal around the edge there. Okay. Now, just briefly, because again, as you'll find out, it's a massive showdown. I'm predominantly a lip purser, which if you've seen the terminology, means that I purse my lips to obtain a single note, like this. However, the other way to obtain a single note, which is more difficult, but so I'm told, also I'm told extremely rewarding if you can make that your main way of getting single notes, is to tongue block. So tongue blocking is where you take 4 holes into your mouth at once, 3, 4, however many at once, and you block off 3 of those notes with your tongue to play the one hole. Yeah. So, and you take it on and off, lift it on and off to make the one hole. So, for example, if I were to play hole 4, I can either play that single like that and lip purse it, or I can put the whole harmonica. As you can get disgusting, I see the inside of my mouth. Just finished my omelette. You'll all love that, I'm sure. And put my tongue onto the harmonica. I'm going to put it into hole 2 there and let it spread across holes 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to play hole 4 at the side of my mouth. Okay, so I'll start off with all 4 holes all together. And then I'm going to introduce my tongue there just by the tip and feel a little hole there. And that actually makes quite a nice effect, doesn't it? Which is where I get to with the Richter tuned diatonic, and sort of my slant on why I think it's laid out like it is. I believe that, it was made for sort of almost German umpire music, because you've got the octave, you've got the scale, the C major scale, the major scale in the middle, and then you've got the 2 lovely chords at the bottom there. So I believe that it was made for self-accompaniment. It's the pocket piano, it's the pocket orchestra. Another one of the many things that got me with the harmonica was all that noise came from all that one harmonica. You know, it's like a rhythm and lead guitar at the same time, to give me some sort of context. So moving forward with introduction to our little harmonica here in the blues. So you notice that when we looked at, I'm going to share screen again here, and I'm going to go to the other missing notes. And where are they? What do they do? So we've got our major scale in the middle there. We've got our chords across it. Okay. Missing notes. So in the bottom there, we're missing, what we're missing, C, D, E. We're missing an F, G, A. We're missing an A. We've got the B, and we've got the C there to complete, to make it the same as this one. So what our harmonica allows us to do is to, hello, I've got a chat, let me look, who's saying something? Just under 15 minutes to go. Always got a 15 minutes warning. It's like other meetings I've been to, the one I mentioned at the start, red card you, 10 minutes, you've been waffling on too long. That's cool. So yeah, let's move along then. So the missing notes are bends. Heard of bends? Might not heard of bends, might heard of bends. Where are the missing notes? So our missing notes here, the C, and we've got the D, the E, the F, the G, the A, the B. Bends. How do we get bends? These are on this diagram here. Again, I'm quite happy to share with this at the end of the thing, where bends occur where the notes in between are missing. So let's take, for example, let's all ignore all the others and just look at that little F there on hole 2, draw, that F there. That's the straight draw, the G. And that's the F, that's our missing note. Now, how am I doing that? What's going on in there? These are the bends, these are the bluesy bits we like. They give it up. Okay, I've got some chats here. Who's asking questions? What we got? Tongue blocking. How? So, okay, I can take some questions on that at the end there. So, anyone? Yeah. So the bends. How do we get in between it? Tongue blocking at the end. Sorry, just that's throwing me off a little bit. Okay, so yeah, the bends. We're going to manipulate the inside of my mouth. I'm going to make the space inside my mouth smaller. So there's an airflow, like, you know, coming through the harmonica, going through the back of my throat. Now that airflow, if I restrict the channel it goes through, it manipulates the reed. I'm not entirely sure it's how. I've heard all sorts of theories. I mean, I dare say the internet is awash with the physics of how those two notes interact with each other. But the two notes, the E on the blow there on that hole 2, and the draw, the G, those two little reeds, those two little tiny pieces of metal we were talking about earlier, interact with each other. So about visualization. If you can visualize inside your mouth, oh, I've heard all sorts of theories. I've heard saying "ew" is a good way. "Ew" might be a good way to get a bend, or "ew" is another one. I just the one that got me was in the Steve Vegas half handbook. It said you just make the inside of your mouth smaller. It just made complete sense. Like, oh yeah, but you know, whatever works for you. If you are making these faces and these bits and pieces, and you get to a sort of a stunned silence, I'll see if I can recreate it like something like that. You'll get in there. If there's a chromatic tuner, online, they have chromatic tuners. Is a good way to see if you're actually manipulating the note at all. That's a great way to sit in front of it. You're whilst on lockdown, I'm pretty sure your fellow lockdowners in your house will absolutely love you sitting in front of a little tuner on your computer going. They will absolutely, you know, yeah, it'll be great. So we're getting our missing notes together here, and so I'm going to move forward a little bit, and it might sort of you know, might get a bit whoa, but I want to just get a skirt across as much as I can within a few remaining minutes that I have. So we're slowly filling in the gaps of the notes we've got. So we're filling the major scale across the bottom. We've only got the one missing up here, which is a blow bend. So there are draw bends. So it's quite easy to remember. In hole 1, there's 1 draw bend. In hole 2, there's 2 draw bends. In hole 3, you guessed it, there are 3. Hole 4, I'm lying, it gets a pattern and then it changes, but that's the same as hole 1 because it's got the same notes in it. It's got the C and the D in it, so there's one bend in hole 4. There aren't any bends in hole 5. You can get a little effect, and I've heard it, but it's not an actual true pitch bend to get a different note. Hole 6, one bend. And then there aren't any draw bends at the top end of the harmonica. They're all blow bends. Now these are the ones that your family will absolutely love you practicing. So we've got the E flat, E to E flat, G to A flat, and in C we've got two two blow bends, which is fantastic. Which I'm sure all the animals in your house are now lovingly practicing for you. So yeah, I am motoring forward on this, but I just want to get to one more slight thing before I sort of wrap up and take some questions. So we're slowly getting it filled in here. What's this one here? Okay, yes. So overblows are what fill in our gaps to get chromatic. So we tried to get a major scale all across the harmonica. What about them other notes? We saw a few, didn't we, in the bends? We saw a few there to fill in the gaps, but these overblows fill in all the gaps. So potentially, just running across stuff in your harmonica, in your hands, that 10-hole diatonic, you have a fully, what I call chromatic instrument. So this be the chromatic. This is a slightly bigger one from East Top there, a 16-holer, and there's little buttons on there, which gets the, if you want in basic terms, sharps and flats or black and white notes of the piano, fills in our gaps. We've already got, we don't have sort of, we have the E chord on the chromatic, but we don't really have that G chord on here. We have basically our middle octave on our diatonic harmonica all the way across it. We have that all the way up there. So it's, in a way it's easier, in a way it's kind of not, because it's a different beast, because you've got to get used to pressing that button to get our chromatic notes up. So that man turns our 8 notes of our octave into 12. Now they are all available on here, so if I combine, and I know I'm switching over it, but it was just to literally get to know your harmonica. If we put them all together, we have 36 notes there. And we have a chromatic instrument if we're so inclined. It's a very, very powerful piece of kit there. So, wow, yeah. What else did I'll stop sharing this and look what little chats I've got. Could I have these notes, please? Yes, you certainly can. No problem. Yeah. So,
what I was going to say was with the notes. If anyone wants them, either contact me. If you go onto the website, there's a.
Can I share them to the chat? I've seen Richard do that.
Okay.
Ben, do you know how to share them to the chat? I can share my notes to the chat here. Ben's the Zoom bod.
Oh,
I've continually failed to be able to do that. Every time I try and share a document, it doesn't work. I don't know.
Okay. Okay, I'll send it to you, Sam, then, and you can distribute it however it goes. What if I could just drag and drop it? Because would that be just too easy? Let's just have a quick.
Just contact me through the website if that doesn't work.
Okay,
sorry, Paul.
no.
I've made a mistake with me maths. So you've actually got another 15 minutes from now.
15 minutes.
I'm sorry. We need some questions. Let's get lots of questions.
Please ask anything about those, anything at all, everybody. Someone said about tongue blocking. How? Okay, so tongue blocking, again, just to go over it, is where we use our tongue to block off notes we're not using. The advantage is, block in caps. Yeah, block caps. Okay, Mad Doc, we're on it, dude. Don't worry. So, yeah, again, we're going to put our tongue and just feel that. So if we just take those first 4 holes there, and just put in your mouth, and then put your tongue on it, put your tongue on it, and just feel around there until you can feel up 1, 2 holes. You're almost like reading Braille with your tongue there. Just read little gaps in there. And then, hello, who's not muted? Or is that me playing back to myself? Oh, so yeah. So what you're after doing is blocking off those other holes with your tongue, so it's just one. So it's just one hole playing there. Okay. Yeah, not sure how you blow bend compared to a draw bend. Okay, well, let's cover that one next. So yeah, with the thing there, it's just about feeling with your tongue where that hole is. So if there's those 4 holes there, I'm just mucking about with the tip of my tongue on there until I can feel that second hole. If I feel like 1 hole, 2 hole, and if you can hear it yourself, if you've got too many notes in there, if you've got too many high notes, you need to bring the side of your mouth in. If you've got too many of the lower notes, your tongue needs to spread a bit further. It's absolutely like trial and error. Just listen to it, trust your ears. You know, once that lovely single note sounds pure, you will know. Once it turns from so did you hear there? I went from sort of, a mash of notes, a sort of, a little sort of car horn there. Till eventually it's 1. Okay, and then the next trick, I guess, would be to lift that tongue off and put it back on again. Okay, so does that help, Mad Dog? Are you happy? Is that a bit sort of like I do? So he's having a go. Okay, cool. Good man. Okay, so how does a blow bend work compared to a draw bend? Okay, so what am I doing with the blow bend? I'm doing almost exactly doing exactly the same thing. I'm making the inside of my mouth smaller. I'm not, when I do these bends, I forgot to mention, there's not actually any more air coming through. I'm not giving it loads, nor am I having a power on when I do the blow bends. There's just the same amount of air coming through, but because I'm restricting it, maybe there's a compression thing. Maybe it's the same sort of thing. Dave Michelson used to describe it as putting your thumb over a dribbling hose pipe. There's no more water coming through, but once you put your thumb over it, a little tiny bit of water jets out, doesn't it? So perhaps it's the same sort of thing. So all I can feel when I'm doing that blow bend, I can feel the inside of my mouth again. I can feel it getting smaller in there. So yeah, that's all I can say really. It's a funny thing to teach, because if we were guitarists or pianists or anything like that, we could say, okay, so put your finger like this. And I saw someone get a piano lesson say, you got to drive through the keys, and they demonstrated. And the guy having the piano lesson was like, oh yeah, I can see that, I can visualize that. You know, when I was having guitar lessons, it was all about, don't kink your finger, and he could see that I was doing it, but I can't see where you're, unless you get one of those piercings. Have you seen those where the guys have them on the side of their face? That'd be handy. That's what we need to do. Next harmonica thing, we're all having piercings on the side of our face so we can see where our tongues are. Excellent. Okay. Could I mention half valving to get missing notes? Okay, so I have little to zero experience of valving harmonicas. I know they do valves on chromatics, but I've never actually, did have, this Suzuki was valved once, and I tore them off because they annoyed me. It made it a little bit sad, a little bit squeaky. Obviously, Mr. Brendan Power uses them to amazing effect. But
I'm just wondering, Paul, if you could explain what valving and half valving is.
In order to, they're called, I used to call wind savers, was probably a sort of a name they got. So open this right now. So if you opened up a chromatic harmonica, over the other side, a little valve. It's like a little strip, a tiny teeny strip of plastic that lays over the reed slot, so that when the opposite reed is in action, that closes down and saves air. However, what we've been able to find is that if you do that to a diatonic harmonica, it enables you to manipulate the reed. So if you valve the draw reed, when you're blowing on your blow reed, there's no air escaping out of the draw reed slot. There's no air getting out of there. So all of your power is concentrated on that blow reed. There's no interaction. You can't get those, but you can bend the one reed by itself to great effect. I can't do it. I don't know. That is absolutely the extent of it. So what a half of a valve is, so if I guess if you could, see those three little heads of the reeds there, what you'd see is little plastic valves that are stuck over part half of the harmonica. I would honestly go to a greater source than I for valving and half valving, to be quite honest. Yeah, that's the extent of it. Sam, if you could add anything. Mr. Ben, who might know more about it than me, has gone on holiday by the look of it.
What I was going to say was, I think what Paul has described today is that's going from the absolute. It's like an overview of harmonica from absolute beginner to what you say absolute expert. So the first thing is getting those chords, then trying to get those single notes, then perhaps getting those draw bends, then getting the blow bends. And I mentioned overblows, and as you practice in them, you will lose a lot of friends because they swear.
Mostly because people think you're smug because they're really difficult.
So, as a beginner, how much practice do you think people should be doing a week?
I wouldn't do it on a weekly basis. I mean, when I first started playing, it was I couldn't put the thing down. I literally played between the ages of 11 and 17 for 4 hours a day. But I think daily is well better than per week. If you can just pick it up, and if you can get into a fixed routine of practice, say, all right, first I'm going to take 20 minutes of my day, or half an hour of my day, and then I'm going to go, all right, first 5 to 10 is playing something I like, playing something I know. Then I'm going to study some scales. Then I'm for 5 minutes. Then I'm going to study some chords for 5 minutes. Then I'm going to do something that really stretches me, that's really horrendous, that really is well outside my comfort zone, and then finish your practice on something you definitely know you can do and do really well. That was always good advice from Mr. Michelson there, that you'll walk away from your harmonica feeling really good about it. If you finish on the bit that's really difficult, you end up thinking, I can't do that. But any amount of playing's good. 10,000 hours is what they say it takes to get good at something, and the more you play it, the more you do. I mean, there's so much advice and so much good advice. It's like a bad. I'm not even sure that bad practice would undo. There's so many things that we can do to check. To put in a little piece of self-awareness or check ourselves. Even when I was a young man, I had one-on-one tuition for a long time. So there was constantly someone sat in front of me going, no, bit more like this, bit more like that. Practice in a mirror, see that you're holding it properly, record yourself a lot. It's terrifying. But I really think, that that's good for you. Okay. So someone says, do you play any other harp keys? What, one or two?
That's 200.
Yeah. No, definitely play loads of other keys. I'm addicted to it. I've got all sorts of harmonicas here. I have a chord harmonica I was going to show and tell as well. So harmonicas in different shapes and sizes where I was going to get to. This is a chord harmonica. Look at that. Yeah. So it does nothing but chords. Look at my big organ. You didn't think you'd get that on a Saturday afternoon, would you? So yeah. You play one of those blocks at once, and that's a chord harmonica. So you know how we had the chords at the bottom end of our little diatonic harmonica? This just plays chords. So yeah, that's a chord harmonica. Tremolos are nice. I only have the one. Where's my little tremolo harp? Yeah, I've only got the one. It's double-sided. It's very old. A friend of it gave it to me. So yeah, this has basically got two notes playing at the same time, or is it four? I can't remember. So, but they're slightly out of tune with each other, just a little tiny bit. It gives it that warble. That's the one note. But then with its mate, so it's a little thingy, little sort of warbly tremolo effect. Not to be confused with octave tuned harmonicas, which are generally curved. So you play the, we had our C major scale, so it would basically be the two C's at the same time, the lower C and the higher C, and then the lower E and the higher E. I can't really play anything decent on them, to be fair. I just muck about. So octave tunes, tremolo, orchestral instruments is what the chord harmonica is called there. A good old chromatic, and very powerful, and my super favorite diatonic harp. And that was my sort of trying to do a little intro into the harmonica, and whatever flavor you want to have a go at and move on from is entirely up to you. So yeah, I hope everyone's enjoyed that. If you enjoyed me, then buy my album. It's available from all the digital outlets. Yeah, I'm on Facebook and bits and pieces if you want to follow me and ask for any advice at all. I'm always happy to answer questions anytime at all. You know, just love chatting harmonica. Just love playing.
Show us that closer, because I don't think your CD, if you show it closer to the screen. So you don't even know. There you go.
You don't even know. There we go. All right.
Yeah, I'm just going to say about with regards to the tremolo, we've got a couple of sessions on the tremolo next Saturday.
Cool.
And I don't play the tremolo, you know, but I'm sort of really looking forward to finding out about it. So even if you're not playing, even if you're not intending to play tremolo, it's probably worth coming along just to be nosy, really. I mean, I'm genuinely inquisitive, so I'll certainly be heading along to that one. What else have we got? Any other question? That's been great for festivals. Thank you. This is from Doug again. If I live for another 100 years, I wouldn't be half as good as you. Lol. But
childhood.
The two things I always would say to a beginner, I mean, everyone says different things, but I think one of the first things is about how you hold the harmonica. And when I started playing, I used to hold it like that, thinking, oh, right, that's great. And then realized, well, actually, you try and do a bit of the old, it's not doing any sort of vibrato sort of sound. So I even got it the wrong way up as usual. So I always think of it as holding it like your hands inside Emu's head. So you sort of got it really, really tight against that. Not that I can do Emu talking, but then what that enables you to do then is get your hand. Oh, I've done it again. And that's all because I've got a really tight seal around the harmonica. So I'm not saying, hey, you've got to master that after a week, but the good starting point is the Emu hold, and then you
just let your sound out. Is what I'd say. Just don't crumple it down. Let it out. I'm not big with the hands. I don't really know how to do an awful lot of that, and I'm not dismissing it because I've seen some guys do some excellent technique. Doug Tate used to make the volume by 10-fold just by focusing the sound, the wave coming, the sound coming out of it. And but I'm not really one for the wah. I'm not much of an electric player either, to be fair. I'm more a studio guy, and I like to play to the mic rather than down it and stuff like that. But let your sound out. Let everyone hear it is the main one. Don't cramp it in all the time. Make sure you can get to the notes and make sure that however you're holding it, it isn't stopping you getting a nice embouchure and being able to. You need to get the harmonica to flow backwards and forwards because it's lighter than your head, because your head is heavy. And you'll see me doing that because I've got bad habits because I'm old. But move the harmonica. Hold the harmonica so that you're able to move it, so that it's not constricting your way of playing it. Okay, there. So someone's asking about different positions. I do believe that the next chap's going to talk across some 12-bar blues, of which will definitely move across 3 positions. So I dare say he will be explaining that.
I think that's one for another workshop. I've already written down
a complete workshop on its own.
It's sort of beyond, it's beyond beginners.
Yes.
But I think, sorry to sound like Confucius, but one thing that I always think is you've got to have your harmonica as your friend rather than your enemy. So if you're there and all tensed up, that isn't good. Whereas certainly when you're starting, just to sort of, so it's almost quite therapeutic to play. You don't need to.
Yeah, there are tiny bits of metal. You don't need much. And breathe through it. Don't blow down it. It's not a saxophone.
And you won't lose so many family members either running away, hiding in the shed.
Reeds, you won't break your reeds. Don't worry about the family members. You won't break your harmonicas. Look after your harmonicas. Stay safe with your harmonicas.
And so we got Tony saying, "Can you show how to seal?" I'm presuming that's the that's holding. Now, everyone's hands are different shapes and sizes.
I would say heel of hands together is a good one. So yeah, so you got your heel of your hands together. So you got your harmonica that's being the crocodile eating the sandwich there, and he's holding that there. So heel of hands together, and then just they can lay across those fingers all together, or on top of them like that. Yeah, so heel of hands, and then just that one down, that one across was there as well. So you get a really up, and then just let that little wah out in there. So yeah, so you're doing the wah between the middle of the hands there is what I've seen people do. I don't do it myself. I've seen people do, but yeah, heel of hands, and then they sort of close like a clamshell around each other. So you've got a nice.
Yeah, and it will take you a while to get it spot on. I mean, I'm lazy with mine. I'm actually better doing it like that.
Okay.
Whereas doing it like that, I've left gaps. So again, I'm lazy.
Not everyone can be good at everything.
A couple of quick ones. Then we've got our blues players always played in the. Always played in the wrong key.
Okay, that's a position thing. So positions in a nutshell. You know what I talked earlier about our G chord and our C chord, our C major chord, all the way up there, and then I talk about a G chord, and then I talked about a D minor chord, didn't I, in the middle? So those are first, second, and third position. So first position is always, we didn't want to get into this too much, but just briefly, just to attach to what I was saying, first position is the key that a harmonica is in. Second position is usually 5 notes away, C, D, E, F, G, which is our G major chord, which is our breathing in chord, down the bottom of the harmonica there. So yeah, just briefly then, second position is all breathing in notes. Is our lovely bluesy second position sound. It's not always in the wrong key, but mainly, and if you want your bluesy sound, you know, straight off the bat, then yeah. So already I've shown you first, second, and third position. I just called them by what they really are, which is the C, G, and D minor chord on your C major harmonica, and that in its absolute basics is what positions are. It's playing in a different key on the same harmonica.
I've written that down for a future session, and that's, I'd say that again, that's probably like an intermediate sort of workshop. We have run out of time for this workshop, so I'd really like to thank Paul for there's no football results or anything at the moment, so that's okay. And
thanks for having us. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'll send Sam the file, and if anyone wants to get in touch with him, then he can make it available however he likes. No problem at all.
I think a few people clapping there, so that's always good. Yeah, you're allowed to. When you're clapping, you can unmute.
Gallery, so I can see you all.
So in 15 minutes.